Hello, my name's Jason Grant. I am a lived experience researcher and practitioner. So I do a massive scale study at Manchester. We're looking at the ethnic inequality in severe mental illness. And I also work in community mental health teams in London and previously working in Sussex. A fun fact about myself is that I am a keen modern jive dancer. Very passionate about getting people on the dance floor and getting people to move their bodies, really. So that's probably a big fact about myself. Sure. So I've experienced psychosis. I'd say that it's probably in remission at the moment. Happened about 6 years ago now, 2015, or 7 years ago now. Whilst I was traveling, and it was a bizarre thing. So I don't know if anyone kind of understands psychosis, but it's seeing things, hearing things, being immersed in a world that you can't really hold on to, so to speak. So I ended up in hospital. And when I came out of hospital, I initially wanted nothing to do with mental health. So I kind of wanted to just forget about the experience and kind of move on. But about a year later, some mild symptoms started to come back, and I kind of needed to try and firstly understand what psychosis is so I can kind of manage it better, but also to kind of understand why is it that people like me are more severely impacted by mental health conditions than other people in society, really. So that led me on a journey of kind of where I am now, working in this space, really, to try and create some change. So for me, lived experience is all about having a first-hand, direct, personal experience with a situation. So it's not about reading about it in libraries and having academic theory. It's about personally going through something. And lived experience is important because it gives me a perspective and allows me to connect with people on a different level, I would say. So generally speaking, when I meet people in society, you try and be polite and nice to people as you find them. But once I understand that somebody's got, a background with mental health and a similar sort of experience, I'm able to kind of have a much more deeper level of conversation with them, I would say. And we're able to kind of understand each other a bit better, I would say, as well. So, yeah, that's what lived experience means to me, I would say. So, as I said, I've been kind of on this mission to kind of improve mental health services and also to help people understand it a bit better. One key example that I can use really is pretty much since the pandemic started, I got in touch with I was watching online conferences, so on YouTube and so to speak, and I found this organisation called the Stability Network, and we're a bunch of activists and advocates who try and improve mental health understanding in workplaces and in society more generally. So I regularly do talks about my own personal experience of psychosis, but also trying to get people to understand how the mental health system operates. So how do you get access to services? How do you get access to treatment? What options are available for people? And I'm really kind of driven by just trying to raise awareness, really. Because I think the mental health conversation has definitely got much better now than it was, even 10 years ago, I'd say, or 15 years ago. But we're still at the stage where there seems to be huge disparities happening especially for black men. And no one can really put their finger on why this is happening, really. So, more change needs to kind of take place, really. So being a lived experience leader is not only having that kind of direct first-hand experience, but it's activating your experience for the benefit of others. And I think when you get into the kind of more leadership roles, it's mainly around you're trying to influence change at a more systemic level, maybe. Maybe you're involved in bigger projects. Maybe you've got a brand and you're kind of more known in the spaces that you're operating in. But I think leadership is always about kind of, being able to be at the vanguard or being able to be at the forefront and say, you know what, I'm putting myself forward and this is what I'm intending to do. We definitely need some training, and I know, it's all about learning and development and being a student of life, I guess, and being, a lifelong learner. You probably need some opportunities as well to kind of demonstrate your your decision-making skills, to demonstrate your kind of delegation skills, and demonstrate your to bring a project from idea into action and into reality. And you obviously need some funding. So either you're being paid a good salary or you've got access to funds that you can kind of create some projects. Those will be the kind of key elements, I would say, for me anyway, around lived experience leadership. Well, obviously I did the training, so that was always a good thing to kind of do, to kind of get given some of the concepts and some of the ideas around how to kind of utilize my lived experience. What I tend to do is, as I said, I'm a reader, so I regularly read books from people who are in a similar sort of space and they're trying to create change. I regularly kind of watch, YouTube videos or online conferences, just to kind of keep abreast of what's happening in the space as well. And just try and always develop myself, really. So that's probably what I'm trying to do. Yeah, so taking part in the Lived Experience Leadership Development Programme has certainly made me understand that there are ways of doing things to kind of help, especially ethnic minorities, to try and create changes within those spaces, really. I think what I've kind of taken away is to kind of do more research and to find groups of people that are kind of active in these spaces. I've been really fortunate. So I'm connected with a group, as I said, through the Manchester work I'm doing, called the Synergy Collaborative Centre. And through them, I've managed to kind of connect up with organisations across the country with a focus on ethnic minorities. So things are happening, and it's just about kind of making sure that I'm much more aware of what's happening in those spaces, aside from kind of mainstream spaces that exist already, really. Yeah, for me it was really excellent. I mean, it's strange because the participants that were on the programme were all doing kind of amazing, work in their own spaces, but I'd never heard of any of them. So it just goes to show that I suppose we need spaces where people can kind of collectively come together and learn and be on a learning journey with each other, really. So that's probably my biggest, and obviously there was a few of the presenters who gave some really good, excellent presentations that had a lot of kind of useful background and context for some of the disparities that are existing for ethnic minorities. So I was really kind of pleased to kind of be in that space and to kind of learn from those, really. I think the key thing for me is to try and reach out and build kind of connections with all different organisations. I think probably that's the most important takeaway that I would take away from the programme, really. Okay, for me, I'm not sure I will describe myself as a lived experience leader per se. What I really enjoy about being in this lived experience space is being able to be myself and be authentic, being able to kind of feel like I'm creating some sort of change within mental health systems. So certainly in the time that I've been working in this space, there's much more kind of emphasis on including people with personal experience of mental health difficulties in kind of everything to do with services, whether you're creating policies or creating system changes, trying to adaptations to services. And I think I would say, at least in my time, definitely the clinicians are taking people much more seriously. So yeah, I mean, and hopefully more that continues, I would say.